Hello everyone, this is AYAN DTM and I'm here to talk about the Table Topics Contest, Judges Guide and Ballot. Well, you're going to be judged on content, which will give you 55 points, delivery, which will give you 30 points, and language, which will give you 15 points. Content comprises speech development and effectiveness. Speech development comprises opening, body, closing, organization, and smoothness. Opening is how you open. You don't have to necessarily say Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, etc., etc. But if that is somewhere to transition from opening to body, it's a great idea. For example, you can speak on the topic, a few words, and then say Mr. Contest Chair or Madam Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, guests and secret judges, etc., etc. Body is what are your main thoughts, and close or closing is very important. You cannot just say thank you and end. There has to be a proper closure. Organization is how your thoughts are organized in the speech. Smoothness is whether or not you're using crutch words, whether or not you're forgetting, whether or not you're smoothly narrating the entire story. Then comes effectiveness, which comprises logic, directness, enthusiasm, achievement of purpose, and audience response. While speech development is for 30 points, effectiveness can give you a total of 25 points if you do it very well. Logic is whether there is any logic in what you're saying, obviously. Directness is whether you're speaking on the topic right there or going all around and then speaking on the topic. Enthusiasm is how enthusiastic you are about the right places. Of course, you're not going to be enthusiastic if you're going to say something sad or bad, but enthusiasm is important. Achievement of purpose. Well, what are you really trying to say? Were you able to achieve that purpose? In table topics, of course, it determines whether or not you spoke on the topic. So that is the achievement of purpose in most cases. And finally, audience response. Audience response can be laughter, it can be clapping, it can be cheering, it can be silence as well, because silence can also mean they're attentively listening. So what is the audience response is going to give you the points for effectiveness. So judges, please take note. And if you're a contestant, please try to get more audience response. Then comes delivery, which is for 30 points, which is broken into physical and voice for 15 and 15 each. Physical is appearance, body language, speaking area. Appearance means whether you're appearing confident, whether you are appearing whatever you're saying. So if whether you're appearing nervous, you're talking about nervousness. Whether you're appearing confident, if you're talking about confidence. Whether you're appearing sad when you're talking about sadness. Then comes body language, gestures, facial expressions, all of that. And speaking area as to whether you're using the digital or physical stage well enough. That's 15 points. Voice is flexibility of your voice and volume. Are you loud enough? Are you soft enough? Do you speak in a high pitch or a low pitch? All of that is important, and trying to vary your pitch, etc. is very, very important. Well, that's 30 points. The last, language, 15, of which appropriateness is 10. Appropriateness to speech purpose and audience, whether what you're speaking, the words you're using, whether it's appropriate, whether it's going above the head or it's too basic, is what you have to determine. So is it appropriate to speech purpose and audience? Yes, no, maybe. Well, you're going to get points for that. And language is just 5 points. It's grammar, pronunciation, and word selection. Now, as a judge, if someone is not speaking on the topic, how can you give them less points? Because you're not just supposed to judge the speech, but to judge a speech on a topic. Well, this is how the points might be reduced. So in effectiveness, the points will be reduced because then the logic is not there, because he's not logically speaking on the topic. Directness is not there. He or she is not speaking on the topic directly. Achievement of purpose is not there because again, they're not speaking on the topic directly. You may also reduce points for appropriateness to speech purpose and audience, but even if someone is not speaking on the topic, you cannot cut marks for physical, voice, correctness, because that is beyond the topic. So that's how it is, ladies and gentlemen. One last point I would like to remind you, that is about Judges' Code of Ethics. It is very important for you to be objective. You should consciously avoid bias of any kind in selecting first, second, and third place contestants. You should not consider a contestant's club, area, division, district, or region affiliation. You should also refrain from considering a contestant's age, gender, race, creed, national origin, disability, profession, or political beliefs, whether you know of them beforehand or whether they came out during the speech. For example, you may not agree with what the contestant is speaking on, but you have to agree with whether or not that contestant used that point in a good way. You don't have to agree with the contestant's point of view. You have to see whether the contestant's point of view was presented appropriately. Also, a lot of times judges tend to time the speeches. They're like, oh, this contestant spoke too less. Oh, this contestant is definitely going to be timed out, so I'll not give him the right ballot or the right marking. Please don't do that. You're not supposed to think about the possibility of undertime or overtime when judging a contestant's speech. Also, you have to understand that judges would need to support by word and deed the contest rules and judging standards. Very important. You have to refrain from public criticism of the contest. Very important. And only reveal as a participant, a judge, a selected scores to the ones you are supposed to. You're not supposed to tell them later, you know what, I was a judge. No. If someone says, how was the speech? You're like, yes, you were good. You cannot give away anything by which people can understand that you may or may not have been a judge. Judges also should not, very important, or cannot be a member of the same club as any contestant when judging at the division and district levels. That is very important. I would ideally see if you are also not there at the area and club. Sometimes that's difficult to do, and that is for the chief judge to determine. But if someone approaches you to judge and you know that you are from the same club, please refrain from judging. Last but not the least, please ensure there is absolutely no conflict of interest with any of the contestants that may cause any bias. For example, if you feel someone being your mentee or mentor can cause a conflict of interest, don't judge. If you feel someone being your wife, husband, brother, sister, son, daughter can cause a conflict of interest, don't judge. If you feel someone who you loaned money is not giving it back and it might be a conflict of interest, don't judge. At the end of the day, our greatest gift is our time. And for a lot of us, time is money. Those 2 minutes are precious for the contestant, and they have to be precious for you as a judge. I wish you all the best, irrespective of whether you're going to judge the table topics contest or appear in it. May the best speech win, and may you help it reach where it rightfully deserves, the top position at the podium. Thank you.